Shalom. I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakakwadash. Double honors and salutes to the elders, the apostles, as well as the elder bishops. Again, greetings to the hopeful elect. All right. Shalom. The true biblical bloodline Israelites, you so-called Negro, Latinos, Native Americans, as well as the Israelite foreigner Gentiles that might look like the heathen nations. All right. Let's just get it started. Jacob is the former of all things. That's That's gonna be the topic of this lesson. What in the hell just happened, man? Goodness gracious, man. That's Satan. That truly is. Cause what the fuck just happened? Hold on, man. Look at this. All right. So, there's a lot of it's called scientific racism going on. I'll be on these different social media sites. Um, and you see it, man. The comment boards. I know it's in Jeremiah. I think it's Jeremiah 49. Jacob is the former. Oh, okay, Jeremiah 10. Let's just read it from here. The portion of Jacob is not like them, for he is the former of all things, and Israel is the rod of his inheritance. The Lord of hosts is his name. The Lord of armies is his name. Okay. So there's a portion of Jacob when you read Revelation, the 17th chapter. The 7th chapter, the 144,000, as well as the 1/3 of Israel is not like them, which technically the whole nation, we're not like any other nation on the earth, but right now our people are converts in wickedness. They're like heathens on the earth right now. All right. So through scientific racism, all right, and us being a destroyed people, a nation destroyed, robbed and spoiled, the portion of Jacob, how is this a people robbed and spoiled? The Lord has sold them. The Lord destroyed his own house. Okay. You know what I mean? Speaks about that, the potter over the clay. Uh, Jeremiah, I believe that's the 18th chapter. So there's a portion of Jacob that's not like them, which is the nation, but the elect. And really, throughout all the ages, the elect is the reason why our people are great. The first fruits. A lot of these, from the dance, there's no new thing under the sun. The dance to the swagger, okay, um, the architecture, the brilliance, the science, the math, okay, throughout the ages, you know, phone at the chime, according to biblical reincarnation, because our souls come back every third, fourth generation. And it's according to a lot, all right, to your lot. If you're an Israelite, you're always going to come back as Israelite. If you're another nation, you're always going to come back as another nation. You know what I'm saying? So throughout the ages, the sons of God, as it speaks about in Genesis 6, this is where you get this doctrine of the Anunnaki. When in all actuality, it's just speaking about the sons of God, having sex with the daughters of men. The other nations, the other trees in the garden, they're women, and bringing forth Israelite men, because the Israelite man can produce Israelite. His seed is an Israelite. A heathen is going to produce a heathen. The sons of God producing Israelites that look like the heathen now, because now that boy might look like a so-called Asian woman, but he's an Israelite like Tiger Woods. So he's renowned. He's a giant in the earth. He's a man of renown. He's great. Michael Jordan. There's tons of Conor McGregor. His fathers go back to the Black Irish. He's a giant in the earth. Okay. The portion of Jacob is not like them. All right. He's the former of all things. All of these inventions, and I want to do a lesson going into that. I want to get into these detailed inventions too, not just the goddamn peanut butter, man. So let's. Oh man, what is this, bro? What is this? What the fuck, bro? It's just shit just be happening on my phone, man. All I'm trying to do is go here right now. This is all I'm trying to do right now. Right here. So I'm gonna show you some pictures because these devils have been scientific racism. Look it up. I brought out a lesson and went into it. Chat GPT. Look up scientific racism. Just to summarize it, it's likening who the real civilized people, the Israelites, are people, Negro, Latino, Native Americans. All right. It's a doctrine of evolution, Darwinism, natural selection, um, where our people supposedly are primitive and brutes, beast-like, because we're more closer to, we're you know, uh, we're more unevolved, and the so-called white man, he's more modern, more evolved, and that's a blatant lie. Because really, these heathen nations are the uncivilized, and they're the genetic wise, they're the fucking weirdos, man. They're the uncooked, the imperfect, if you want to say, And see, our people don't value, all right, the spirit that comes along with being an Israelite. So our people, they look like zombies now. They look like the dead. The scriptures speak about that. How is it so that ye are now this day, lying among the dead? I forget where that's at, but the dead are talking about the heathen nations, man. They don't have that soul, you know what I'm saying? They don't have the spirit, that lively spirit. Okay, ye are the salt of the earth. What is it if it loses its savor, its flavor, man? It's salt. If salt doesn't have any, what is it good for? If you take a candle, you are a light upon the hill. He was talking about our people, the Israelites, more so the elect, because now our people are just gray fucking gremlins. All right, so let's just start. They say, you know, picture speak 1,000 words, and I'm gonna get into prophecy with my next videos. We're gonna catch up. We're gonna get into current events. I was just sitting up here thinking, I be getting pissed off, man, because I see a lot of ignorance, which it doesn't matter. You people all will soon be melted, all right, eviscerated by those intercontinental intercontinental ballistic missiles, man. The arrows of the Lord of Yahweh Bashem Shai. Okay, so it doesn't matter, but I just get pissed off, man. You heathens have no clue. We are not Africans. There's a lot of videos going out with Hamites eating fucking baboon babies and damn fucking just cannibalistic gremlins. Okay. Now, we look alike. Shemitic. We're Shemitic. They're Hamitic. All right. They're the sons. These dark skinned people right here are the sons of Noah, which means that Noah had to be dark skinned as well. But the Most High divided the nations. All right. Let's just read some of it. Through archaeology and scientific comparison of distinct ethnic features, we can see that the three great ethnicities, Hamitic, Semitic, and Asiatic, is supposed to be Japhetic, all began as very dark-skinned Negroid people at one time. Yeah, everybody on the earth, like we've been telling you, was Negroid. Okay, even the original so-called Europeans, which Europe is Newspeak. It's a lie. Okay, it's either Western Asia, it's Asia, it's Western or Eastern Asia. You know what I'm saying? There's no such thing as Europe. That's part of that fucking pseudoscience, so the white man can place himself. No, the scriptures tell you where he comes from. He comes from Mount Seir. All right, the caves, man. All right, and then he was pushed off into the Caucasus Mountains, in the caves as well, surrounded by dark nations. You know, it says all began as very dark-skinned Negroid people at one time. Clearly, the Nubians, and the picture I'm trying to paint real quick is because this doctrine of the Egyptians being so-called white, that didn't come. That was during the last dynasty. Pretty much, Egypt was through. Egypt had its golden age, which really the golden age of Egypt. All right, really the scriptures starts after the scriptures come in when Jake, the Israelites had to be brought into captivity, because before that, when you actually go into the history of the Hyksos, they tried to hide the name Israel, but these shepherd people, they had kingdoms. All right, they had kingdoms, and they were king. They were called the shepherd kings, and our people are known as the shepherd people. They were shepherds, and but they were kings. They were ruling. They had advanced, you know, weaponry and chariots of war, and it united the southern and northern Hamitic people of that land to come together, because they figured, and it actually starts off in the scriptures right there. It brings out how they were threatened, like, hey, look, if these people, okay, as a matter of fact, I want to let these pictures speak real quick, so I want to narrate this. If anything, we can bring scriptures later. They said, when you enter into the scriptures, I think it's in what, Genesis. It starts with speaking about how, when the Israelites came into Egypt, they were blessed. But when, Joseph, and but then when the Pharaoh that had favor on the Israelites died, new pharaohs came in, and they were threatened, like, man, these people are great people. We got to put them in captivity, otherwise they're gonna take us. So the golden age of Egypt was before Egypt, and then when our people were in slavery, they built up Egypt, and that was the golden age. So when Esau got it, Ptolemy, Alexander the Great, Egypt was through already, man. All right, the Arabs had got it before Esau, before the white man. The Arabs had got it. So I speak that because the scriptures say that it likens our people. If you want to, say, all right, the ancient Israelites were a Negroid type people, where it likens us to the Egyptians. Mizraim is the you know because that's a Greek term. Mizraim is the true tribe of the ancient Egyptians, modern day Sudanese, or these type of people right here. You see, but they were still Negroid, and here we go, the Semitic. So that pro African, that pro black shit, Esau, mixes us in with the Nubians. Now you have our people that's mingled, our bloodline mingled up in there, because you best believe the men of our nation done popped all of these women on the earth, these heathen women. You know, it says archaeology from paintings of ancient Nubians found in Karnak, the temple of Ammon, in Beth El Wale, compared to modern Sudanese women, show identical match. Egyptian statues, Pharaoh Akhenaten has an exact match of ethnic features as a modern day African Maasai warrior. Yup. This 2,000-year-old carving of an Semitic Hebrew, approximately 678 BC, is identical to the modern day African American. You see that? And it's a light skin, brother. And those are cornrows, not dreads. Okay? And we're not African American. Asiatic. We're technically Asiatic because our homeland sits in the middle of Asia, between Eastern and Western Asia, what they would call Europe, and then going off into Asia. All right. It says the Asiatic features of this Kenyan boy perfectly match 2,000-year-old statue Buddha. Yeah. So let's show some more pictures. Again, I just got a bunch of pictures right here. Pictures speak 1,000 words, man. You know what I'm saying? One second. Jacob is the former of all things, Israelite. Okay. Our people are some Hamites at this point. You know what I'm saying? This is Amos 9 and 7. You Israelites are just like the Ethiopians in my sight, says the Lord. Okay. You got to remember the ancient Ethiopians come directly from the tribe of Ham. So they were darker than what you see now. These Ethiopians today are either Jake or mixed with Esau. Let's read this. This is Ham. Ham is one of the sons of Noah. Again, everybody was dark skinned in the beginning. Ham, the youngest son of Noah, born probably about 96 years before the flood, and one of 8 persons to live through the flood, he became the progenitor of the dark races. See that? The progenitor of the dark races. So how can he be the progenitor of the dark races if everybody else is white and light skinned? This was Noah's youngest son. It says not the Negroes. So the Negroes are dark skinned too. They could get as black as a fucking Hamite. The Lord was as dark as a Hamite. All right? Because the Negroes are the Judites of the Bible. A Shamitic, not Hamitic. See, we're reading about the sons of Ham. So these are the sons of Ham right here. But the Egyptians, Ethiopians, Libyans, and Canaanites, and then all their respective tribes, because then it fractions off into tribes. Genesis 10:6. Okay, not the Negroes. You see? Not the Negroes. You see that? So here we go again. An Israelite and the ancient Egypt. These are the golden age, the Egypt that the Israelites went into slavery under. These are the type of people right here. You see what I'm saying? So two so-called black Negroid people. All right. And this is why, let's go through some more of these pictures. Okay. Let's low-key finish where we was at right there. You got Ham, Shem, and Japheth. Okay. The Greeks were, again, because with this scientific racism, places Esau in Europe as his origin story. No. There were dark skinned, everybody was dark skinned. Okay. All up through Europe, through Russia, okay, through Asia, Eastern Asia, North Africa, everywhere on the earth, all over here in the Americas. Okay, even before, okay, Esau got Rome, so-called white man got Rome, you already had the sons of Japheth. Where is that? Okay, the sons of Japheth, right, right here. The sons of Japheth, you already had the sons of Japheth in Europe mingled with Shem, all right, with the Israelites. Sparta, okay, the Spartans, also known as the Lacedaemonians, they show up in the book of Maccabees, I think it's the first, second chapter, one of them chapters. It clearly tells you they were the brethren of the Jews, the Israelites. They were Israelites. They came to help their brethren when Esau was waging war on us, when Esau was taking over, okay, taking over Europe. Because you got to remember Alexander the Greek, his father, Philip the Macedonian, all right, he took Macedon and then he set it up to where his son started to conquer. But that was just fulfillment of prophecy. Daniel's the 8th chapter. Esau only got a time to rule because of the prophecies. All right. You see what I'm saying? So before that, you had, and I got a map. I got it. I'm going to show you, Lord's willing. Okay. So Jake and Japheth were already, Italy and Rome, and the original Romans was and I got some pictures, I believe. Japheth. So you got Ham, Shem, and Japheth, all dark skinned people. Okay. And you can imagine how much more dark skinned Japheth was, because the original men, Ham, Shem, and Japheth, they were all brothers directly. And then, the Lord's spirit got in there because the Lord was dividing the nation. So each nation has a different spirit, which comes from the heavens, you know. You know what I mean? So of course we start to look alike because we got different spirits, start doing different things, different customs. So let's go see what else we got as far as what we was holding. Because I got a picture real quick. I want to real quick show you something real quick. Yeah, let me show you this map I got real quick. Where is that at? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Damn, where's that map? Sueve. Oh, okay. I'm gonna pull it up. All right. Okay. Check this out. All right. When Esau got Rome, there's a reason why he labeled his enemies barbarians. Okay. One quick. I'm trying to make this pen pop up. Where's my pen chats, man? Damn, bro. What the pen? Try now. Pen chats. No. It's supposed to pop up like the pen thing, man. That's Satan, man. No, man. What's going on? Okay, here we go. Here we go. There we go. Okay. Let's see something real quick. All right. The way Rome fell was because Esau Edom was surrounded by dark nations. All right. Okay. Alexander and his father, you know, they learned from so-called from Israelites. Before Esau came into power, which you can't deny prophecy. Prophecy is gonna come to pass. Esau is a very pivotal part of prophecy, Jacob and Esau. All right. But you see all of these nations right here? Okay, you got some of them. Okay, you got the Franks, you got the Britons, the Suebi, the Visigoths. All right. All of this was not Esau. The Ostrogoths kingdom. You got North Africa, the Vandals kingdom. All right. Esau would go through and make these people subjects and conquer the people and then induct them into the he would use them. He would either slaughter them, put them in the coliseums, or make them be a part of his military, you know. And that's a whole nother history, but that's how he came down. East, you know, Jake just pretty much was in his military. Septimius Severus, Licinius Niger, different emperors that came up in power and just pretty much took Esau out the game, forced him. And over a period of time, he got pushed off into them Caucasus Mountains, and that was prophecy. That was a fulfillment of Revelations. All right. So I just had to show you that, but now we're gonna go back to, you know, those were dark nations. I wish I could have pulled up. I got it stored in my other little. It's called the Pilo. Let's just get some more pictures first, okay? Because there's a reason why. You know, let's just take a look at some pictures. Check this out. The original Australians, the original Asians. All right, the original people of Latin descent, original Filipinos. Now some of these people are heathens, okay? But then you got Jacob in there too, though, okay? Because this is Japheth. Like a lot of the um, Australians from the original, the Filipinos. It's Japheth and Jake. Original people of India. It's Jake mingled up in there too. But those are the original Indians, though. I don't mean to click that. You know what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? So Esau is fairly new. Look at these civilizations. I want to show you something. This is all Jake. Okay. I mean, you know, this is the remnants of Jake. This is what they call um like a Tartarian empire, which is some bullshit. I'm not gonna go. I'll go into it later. These are just the magnificent structures Jake left around the world. You know what I'm saying? Jake built up. Whether in slavery or not, you got to remember our people left these same structures all around the world. Okay. because they had the knowledge of this type of, you know what I'm saying, these type of buildings. All right. This is supposedly Chicago. And then, Esau is mixed up in that too. But you think about Granada, Spain, right? You could see Spain in there, all right? The Moors. You could see all the Moorish, and Esau made Jake put all of that Masonic shit in there. You know, okay, this is what we mean when we say we built up America. You know, the first Romans were black people, so called, because nobody's black. The Etruscans, yeah, the Etruscans and the Minoans. These are the original um, so-called European, all right, really Western Asians, the sons of Japheth. I want to pick up a map real quick. You know, you see, this is where the Romans got the toga and all of that. When you read Maccabees, it speaks about some Romans, but it's speaking about the Japhetic because we made league with them when they was all right before. That's what I believe at that account before Esau got up in there. All right, because yeah, they took that the toga, the olive, and all of that. They took that. They even took war strategy from Japheth. When you go into the history, okay, look at this Japhite. It's a Negrito of the Fiji Islands. You see that? It could be Jake, but either way, the sons of Noah. So Esau is that Cancer. He's the true marked, Esau, the actual progenitor, the man, the first so-called white man, all right, came from two so-called Negroes, all right, birth Esau, and you got to go into Genesis 25th chapter to get the account. He was marked with the same curse that was the mark of Cain, the same mark that, Moses' sister Miriam received when she pretty much was rebelling against Moses. The Most High stripped her pigmentation, man. Okay, and Cain received that mark because he murdered his brother for no reason, because his brother was more righteous than himself. Okay, so scientific racism, right? It's all hogwash. Look at this. This is Europe. You know, this is after Esau had pretty much taken down Japheth out of Europe, and Japheth is like your Samoans and shit, New Zealand and all of that. Them type of people, those are Japhites, man. Okay, but then Jake got up in there because it was Jake and Japheth. I showed you the Ashraga, them different nations, them barbarian Esau, the Roman Empire called them barbarians, and used a lot of those people for auxiliary forces, meaning the other nations they wouldn't kill them when they would take them nations, but they would make the men serve in the military, and they would actually get benefits and shit. Be a soldier for the Roman, and you could become a Roman citizen. So when that failed, Jake had Europe, all right, and that was a fulfillment of what was that? Revelations. We're gonna get it, Lord's willing. All right, let's get it. As a matter of fact, real quick. All right, we could come back to some pictures. All right, scientific racism doesn't, it's, it's pretty much saying that yeah, everybody on the earth was black because black people came from monkeys out of Africa, and just naturally everybody was dark skinned. But then I came and civilized everybody. No, look at this. We were kings. We were kings. All the monasteries around Europe, the Holy Roman Empire, were Negroes. Jake, you know, ruling, man, being Israelites in another land. Okay, that's why all of them castles were built like ancient Judea structures, man. Ancient Africans, and they say Africans, but no, it should be Hebrew Israelites, Judites of Germany. Roman Emperor, Imperator Corrales. I mean, we can go on and on with this, man. And they knew they were Israelites. This is why they would paint. You have all these portraits of the saints painted all throughout different so-called European countries. Because there wasn't cameras, our people they made portraits of themselves, you know. This is what and they took him out, your boy Kennedy. But suppose God is black. What if we go to heaven and we all and we all our lives have treated the Negro as an inferior, and God is there, and we look up and he is not white? What then is our response? And I believe they were Jakes. I believe the Kennedys were Jakes. You know, that's why they had to be taken out, because they pretty much was among Esau, looking like Esau, but they couldn't hide that Jake, you know, Romania, the Voronet in Romania. They couldn't destroy all these images because our people knew we were the people. That's why the Holy Roman Empire, we were living as heathens, and this is really where Christianity comes from. Jake not understanding the scriptures, having all this power, being sovereign again, but not understanding the scriptures, neither taking it seriously, but wanting to make it a household religion. Just employing all of their pagan religion that they had been keeping, mixing it with the scriptures, man. Okay, there was something I was gonna get, but I don't forgot. Doggone it. Oh, a map. Let's pull up a map of sons. Thorough knowledge of the scriptures is better than any college education. One of your presidents said that. Okay, because you don't even know that, you people don't even know that this is real history. You don't even know about Shem, Japheth, and Ham. Real scholars, they deal with this, all right, with this form of what they call secular history, man. That school and that college history, unless you trying to be like some type of scholar and really you might want to be an archaeologist, you're gonna have to deal with the scriptures. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna have to filter shit through the scriptures. You're gonna have to go into this history. You want to start searching out shit and is this for real? Or, you know, something might be written in a certain book, but you need to come back to the Bible to actually, you know, get the ancient name for it and where it's exactly at and what happened there. And then when you actually go to the land and you can prove that that's actually there, that happened, you know, okay, yeah, this is concrete. We have to filter everything through these scriptures. All right. How you think they make these movie pieces, these period pieces so accurately, all the way Slakia down to the uniform? Only thing they do is whitewash everything. The descendants of Gomer and Javan. All right, Yavan, the Yavanites are the original Greeks. Okay, this is when the people were dark skinned. As you can see, the color log right there. Shem is the purple. That's who we are, the sons of Shem. These when they got off, you know, from Mount Ararat and they went to repopulate. These are the directions that the sons went. Okay, so Shem, that's where the Negroes, Esau, certain nations, the Arabs come from. Shem, Ham. Okay, the progenitor of the dark nations, we established that. Okay, the orange right there, and then Japheth, all up there in. Okay, so this is totally contrary to the doctrine of evolution and pseudoscience, because pseudoscience, this dude is giving you 40,000 years, men were just wandering around, dark-skinned cavemen, monkey-looking niggas. No, they occupied every land, and then, okay, they evolved a little more, and then here comes the white man. No, you got to deal with the scriptures. This devil was created in the womb, all right, to be stripped of his pigmentation. That's literally what the word Esau, that's why his father named him that. Aisha wasted away. He didn't have any pigmentation. He was red all over because his blood showed forth through his skin. All right. And then it gives you his traits. And that's that. All of those wicked evil spirits, going back to the serpent, the beginning, that's a seed line of men. And then, Cain and his descendants, okay, came back through Esau, the progenitor. Just like Jacob is the progenitor, his name was changed to Israel, of the Israelites. And all of those Israelite souls can come through the respective tribe, just like Esau got his tribes. All right. But Gomer, Ashkenaz. This is why they talk about an Ashkenazi Jew, because they're trying to place, you have something called migration patterns, where 1,000 years ago, it might have been all Negro people up there. Okay, then slavery, okay, the Renaissance, so-called white man, he came out of the Caucasus Mountains. He, started to take over again. We're going to read it in Revelations. Okay, now he occupies that land. All right. So you might say, oh, he's Ashkenazi Jew because the people up there, they're Ish, and then they're, no, okay. There is no Ashkenaz. That's not a part of Esau's lineage. He's Shemitic. To be Ashkenaz, this is talking about the ancient map when those men were populating the earth. The original people there. Togomar. You see, Javan, Greece. You see Greece? Javan. All right. Those were so-called black people. And on those islands over there, Jake was migrating over there. That's where you get the Spartan history. You know? You see what I'm saying? So Esau started to come into power and take these because he was over here. Let's see if we can get some more picture. Okay, I just wanted to show you that as an example. Look at the Africans. Okay, we're not African. We're on the continent of Africa right there. Okay, Egypt. Then you see Philistia. Okay, see we're up in there too. Shem. You got Elam. You got the Arab nations. Okay, those are our cousins. So you Negroes are not Hamitic. Then you got the orange people down here. You got Ham. You got all his descendants down here in Africa. We're up in there. We're mingled over there. We even look like them because we've been mingling with them. All right. But let's go back. I just wanted to show you that a picture speaks 1,000 words. I really just wanted to go through these here pictures. The name of Yahweh. Okay. Man, we got a lot of whew. All right. This is why the so-called, these devils, all right, the so-called white man is running from his true nationality. Okay, he's been jumping around, switching nationalities of dark-skinned people, man. Let him tell it he's the Egyptians, he's the original Western Asians, he's the original fucking Samurai, he's us, the Ish people, they claim to be us. It says Edom, the Edomites. The nation and its people who were descendants of Esau, he founded the country, so his name is equated with Edom. Yeah, Edomites being red people. All right, their blood, the people that, they're wasted away and their blood shows forth through their skin. Genesis 25, 30, 36 as well. It says the country was also called Seir, Mount Seir, which was the name of the territory in which the Edomites, you see, these are Edomites that's writing this information. And these people have the power and the access to go to these lands. Okay, they've been digging up the mummies in the pyramids for centuries now. You know what I'm saying? It says Edom figures prominently in the prophetic scriptures as the scene of great future judgments. Yeah, these people know who we are and they know who they are. And guess what? They've had the Bible before we got back hold of it because we had it. We lost it during slavery and they were able to read it and study it. Okay? That's why you got Jesus Christ added up in there. It's not his name. It says, they know that Edom, and since their forefathers, they've known that they are the Most High. They know that they're in the scriptures to be judged. Okay? She is the only neighbor of the Israelites who was not given any promise of mercy from God. Yeah, Jacob and Esau. This is that hatred that you see between the so-called white man and the Israelites, man. If you wondered why, it's not because we're subhuman. It's because um the promise is to us and not him, and it goes back to the Genesis 25:27. You know, the whole birthright thing. I do, Idumea, pertaining to Edom, Greek and Roman name for Edom. Yeah, the Romans and Greece, they were the Edomites, but the original were Japhetic and Jakes. The rich culture of Greece, just like the rich culture of America, from the music to the art to the inventions, they lied about majority of these inventions. Okay, it's really all Jake, man. It says bronze statue, Greek speaking Jews. We tell you in the New Testament, that those Greeks in Athens and scattered throughout Rome, all right, Cappadocia, Lystria, all these different places were Israelites that were Hellenized into Greek culture, going back to the Maccabean Wars. All right, let's read this. Greek speaking Jews. All right, they weren't natural heathens. They were Hellenized Israelites that were keeping the way of the heathens, just like the American way. Our people are Hellenized in American culture. Bronze statue of Greek speaking Jew with dreadlocks, dated about 200 BC. And you have a lot of again, the Minoans and the I forget the other name I just showed you, the Japhetic people. There's a lot of pottery, there's a lot of relics. I think I got picture photos of them. Negroid people. So okay, so you have Jake going back to Greece, okay? All right. Often called Hellenists. These Israelites had conformed to the custom of the Greeks. Some, however, returned to the Levitical covenant. Yeah, going to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. You know, the Israelite foreigners, like we tell you, not the natural Greek, not the natural, because Esau not even a Greek. You think about the white boy, no, that's Javan. That's that's Japheth, a Negro, a Negroid looking person with some woolly curly hair, man, like a Samoan type, New Zealand type looking dude. And they were more dark skinned and Negroid looking back then, though. It says these Israelites had conformed to the custom of the Greeks. Some, however, returned to the Levitical covenant. Some did not, and some repented in Yahushua. Yeah, that was Yahushua's thing. Like, look, these people are still my people. They still go back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, that bloodline. And some of them I have chosen as the elect. They're going to wake up and remember themselves. Okay? So these are the people that's been all around the world, all these civilizations that were great. It's these Israelite people that are going under these. Same with the Asians. I got to put together something like that. The whole martial arts thing. The first dynasties, the Shang and the Shao, okay, I believe in Japan, okay, they say they were Africans, but they were Hebrew Israelite. They were the sons of Judah, okay, and Reuben, and then, the Reubenites and Gadites and Manassites in the ancient world bordered Moab, the modern day Asian men. And their respective tribes were neighbors. And we took a lot of their women, okay, and a lot of our culture. They took our culture from our food to, and this was the ancient world before chicken and collard greens, man. Okay, martial arts, all of that knowledge that the house of David, King, Abraham, those are the true orders of the martial arts, man. You watch them Asian movies and nigga be walking on water. No, that was our forefathers. That's what David and them was doing. Okay, Israelite foreigners, man. Okay, the sons of God, going back to Genesis, the 6th chapter. We've been all around the earth 6 times, 7 times. And everything you see great, go back to our people. Even the Mongols, uh, Khan and all of them, Genghis Khan, they were Israelites, Israelite foreigners. Okay, because you best believe our people being Hellenized in ancient Greece, Yeah, you got the Negro look right here, but a lot of them look mixed. Some of them might have looked like white boys. Same today, man. It says, John 12 and 20, and there were certain Greeks among them that came up to worship at the feast. Yeah, now it's just giving you the scriptures that bring out the Greeks. And it actually tells you when you look up the word Greek in certain, you know, uh, books, it'll say Hellenista. Okay. So that was just another little, you know what I'm saying? Another little, you know what I'm saying? How to make a Negro Christian. We tell you Christianity is that's the first thing, you know what I'm saying? It's a doctrine of men. Okay, that's why they link Christianity with now they link it with pseudoscience. Oh yeah, the Big Bang. Yeah, it was. That's the explanation of the creation. Then you know mm, evolution, the natural selection. We didn't say it wasn't a creator. You know what I mean? All that bullshit, man. And I know so because I used to talk to this Edomite. I used to always cut him with the scriptures, and he used to have a monkey head out there. He would be preaching Christianity with the Bible, but he'd have on his table, he'd have a monkey's head, and he'd be preaching in front of you Latinos. Okay, so yeah, we just gonna, all right. This is why. Look at this. Look at the black maskers. All right, all throughout America, and scientific racism is now saying that these people are so dumb. They've never built nothing. They've never had any societies. They've never, they're monkeys, mud hut babies. No, we're the people that go anywhere on the earth and bring civilization and outdo and outpace any nation we're around. And so this is what they've had to do to us all throughout the earth. That's what the Renaissance period was about. Let's get this scripture. I forgot. And I'm about to look into all of those individually, go into the history. Uh, let's get this real quick. I got more, but I gotta wrap this up. I'm in the wrong chapter. Okay, and I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. You got to remember, this is a very strong parabolic book, especially other books metaphorical or parabolic, but a lot of literal, a lot of analogies and riddles, mysteries in this. All right, but I saw an angel. That angel is Yahweh Shai, okay, who you ignorantly call Jesus Christ, from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit and great chain in his hand. And the bottomless pit is dealing with uh, what they call the Caucasus Mountains, bottomless. I looked it up, and I'm gonna do another lesson. I should have did it now, but I didn't prepare this. I'm just hitting this in the spirit, and it just reminded me right now. I got a lesson I'm gonna bring out. I put up what is the bottomless pit and Chat GBT represent, and I forget the wording, but it's absolutely amazing. All right, and it's gonna further prove what I'm saying. But pit represents land, and you can get that in the scriptures. The Lord's favorite pit is the geographical location of Israel right there. And that's why it's a wilderness right now, because the true people ain't there. That's supposed to be the most, you know, if you go more eastward, you got something called the Fertile Crescent, all right, towards the Euphrates River over there, Pison, whatever, where all life started, known as the Fertile Crescent. And Judea over there Jerusalem was also very fertile before it was a desert, because the heathen has parted the land at this point. But the Lord is going to restore that place, all right, when we get it back, and that's really soon. All right, so the bottomless pit, damn, I should look that up real quick. Let's do it. Having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand, representing slavery. You put somebody in chains, right? But let me finish this. And he laid hold, so the Lord himself, as the scriptures say, the Lord ruleth in the kingdom of man. Okay, uh, promotion cometh from the Lord, meaning every empire that rises and falls, that's the Lord's will. He's responsible for that. bringing nations down and raising them up. That's why his title is the Lord of Armies, Lord of Hosts. All right. Every nation has to have an army. Having key, having the key of the bottomless pit, and he laid hold on the old dragon. That's Rome. When you deal with Daniel's the 7th chapter, I believe it's the 4th verse. That old serpent, which is the devil, and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years. Who were the Romans? The Edomites. That's what we're establishing. Okay, these are the people running from their heritage of an Edomite, cloaking themselves as the Greeks, the Romans, the this, the that, the Ish people. There was a time when the Lord had laid hold on them and put them into slavery at the bottomless pit, the Caucasus Mountains. Okay, because that's a pit. That's there's nothing there. It's bottomless. It's no resources at all. And there's a very shameful history of these people when they lived there. That's another topic for another time. I just did a lesson on that. They were known as the Wood Wolves, some mythical beast creatures. Okay, they would wear their drawers till they disintegrated. They never bathed. You know, that's why when they got hold of all them castles in Europe and stuff like that, that we had, that we built, they moved right on in and fucking stank the place up, man. And they tell you too. They just mess around with the dates and they whitewash the period when we were there. You know what I'm saying? And they say that that's the Dark Ages. We don't know too much about that history. But then you get Mozart and all of these guys, and then they claim it, but they say we don't know. But this is that account. This is that history. And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years. That's that 1,000-year period from the fall of Rome, approximately 200 AD to, I would say 300 official. But around the 200s is where Rome began to fall. You had Israelite emperors up in there, not Africans. They're going to play that word with African. Okay. And then up into the 1400s, I think longer than that, we was in the, because the scriptures deal with approximates, but 1,000 years, it represents completion. It says, and he laid hold on that, and notice how it ties the Edomites, the dragon, right, which represents Rome, Revelation the 13th chapter, clearly. All right. Even the scholars will tell you that. And then ancient Rome, because we're now in America is known as Rome as well. Revelation the 13th chapter speaks about the deadly wound that was healed. Okay. The dragon is back as America and its cohorts, which are the beast system, NATO and the EU, the whole West, what they call the West. But it ties it back to the people, the serpent, the people of the serpent, which is the devil, the deceiver, and Satan. Okay, because these are the people of Satan. They come after the workings of Satan, 2 Thessalonians, the 2nd chapter, and bound him 1,000 years. So this account is speaking about that time that Esau wasn't ruling no Europe. It says, and cast him into the bottomless pit and shut him up and set a seal upon him that he should deceive the nations no more. Because nowadays when you go to high school, they say, oh, the Greeks were the civilization started with the Greeks. No, that's a lie. What they're actually saying is, the Renaissance period was the rebirth. When we came out the caves, okay, we started to take, they took down the dark nations again, because they had did it before under, okay, their leader Alexander the Great and his father. But then they went down again. That led to Rome. Greece led to Rome, and that's all in Daniel's, okay, book of Daniel's. It's all throughout the scriptures, that history. Daniel's the 2nd chapter as well. Okay, Maccabees. All right. Daniel's the 8th chapter, the 9th chapter. It says, and cast him into the bottomless pit. Yeah, you devils was in the caves, and shut him up and set a seal upon him. Yeah, you was in slavery. That he should deceive the nations no more. All right, so this whole so-called Eurocentric, this Edomite mindset, white supremacy, blonde hair, blue eye thing, that was out of the earth during this time. That wasn't the standard of beauty. It was Jake. till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled. You know what I'm saying? And after that, he must be loosed a little season. So that was the Renaissance period. That's when, okay, shit, that was after all of the Shakespearean, the Mozarts, the Samurai, the original Samurai, that history before the white boy Asian. That's what I call it. Okay, when they was Negroes up in there. All right, when you had to have Negro blood to be official. Okay, the knights in Europe. Okay, the knights, that rich history. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. That was already done. Esau just slid up in there and he played with it for a minute, and then he rewrote the history and said it was him and started building his own wicked, demonic fucking shit. And here we go. McDonald's and Burger King, man. And fucking high rises with 50,000 people living in that motherfucker instead of having their own land, man. Paying for groceries, no fruit trees in the city. Are you fucking crazy? All right. It says till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled, and after that he must be loose for a little season. Okay, let's go down here. 7, I mean. And when the 1,000 years are expired, because it jumps around. So when that 1,000 years was up, this is what it said. Then, okay, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison. The word Satan just means adversary. Esau came back. You know what I'm saying? He came back out of his prison, meaning he was in captivity. He wasn't in fucking Alcatraz nowhere. It says, and shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth. You see? So now we have pseudoscience. We have, okay, Scientology again. We got all of these lies. Everybody's been whitewashed. The Vikings was white boys. That's not true. The Vikings never, the Celts, the Vikings, the Irish, the original, they were never so-called white boys. They were Negroes, but they were Japhetic before they were ever white boys. Okay? And before they were Negroes, they were Japhetic. Because you got to understand, Japheth is a heathen too. So Jake came into them lands, and where you get the rich history, Dublin, Ireland, okay, the land of the blacks, the rich history, the fighting Irish, what you so-called a leprechaun history, that stuff, the Celts, that's Jake. Just like here in America, where you start talking about America and you start talking about, okay, the culture of America, that these other nations, you got people in China and Japan. See, when they follow Esau, it's just because of the propaganda and the media. When they follow Jake, it's the spirit of Jake, the culture, who Jake is, which proves we're the people. We're those people in Genesis, the 6th chapter, the sons of God. Okay? Let's end it with that since I keep speaking about it. Because I got so many more pictures, it'll take all day to continue to go through there. It says, Genesis, and it came to pass when men began to multiply on the face of the earth. We've been going through that. And daughters were born unto them. Okay? All of them nations, because the sons of God come from the line of Shem, and not just any nation of Shem. Okay? The Shemitic Hebrew Israelites, not the Shemitic Hebrew Edomites, the Shemitic Hebrew Elamites or Ishmael, Israelites. It's one line, 12 tribes from one man that was chosen of the Most High to bear the covenant. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, It says, and it came to pass when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men. Yeah, the Israelites. You replace that with the Israelites. That line of men saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, and they took them wives of all which they chose. Yeah, the daughters of men, the daughters of them other nations. And the Lord said, my spirit shall not always strive. Okay, let's go into something else. Okay, there were giants in the earth in those days. And when you look up the word giant, let's get it. And now men were actually much bigger, but it's speaking about something else. Let me get it in the blue letter real quick, and we're going to end it right after this. All right. Blue letter. All right. So you can't say that we just can't get it right. Every time we try to do for ourselves, okay, you segregated us. You integrated us. Segregation. That whole Martin Luther King thing was a whole psyop, a military psyop, to scatter us among these nations and take everything from us so we couldn't build. Now look at us. We worse than we was before the civil rights era. You see that? Because they destroyed our cities, okay? And before that, they destroyed all of our cities that we was building here in America before they came here. All throughout Europe, they destroyed all of that stuff. Venice and you know, and all of those places you like to tour, that those were our structures, man. We built that, man. They might have reinforced it, but we built all the original, you know, the castles, and they still standing, man. Okay. It say the sons of God saw the daughters of men that they were fair. All right. Yeah, they look good. Just like we like these heathen women today. We like the Asian women. We like these, you know what I'm saying, Japanese women. And they took them wives, meaning they had sex with them. They had children with them. Okay, it don't have nothing to do with giving no ring, which they chose. And the Lord Yahweh said, okay, it's 4. There were giants in the earth. Let's look up the word giants. This is where you get that the angels came down. No, that's not the sons of God. Now, they are sons of God, the angels, but the elect men here on the earth are sons of God too. What you think the 144,000 is about in Revelation, the 7th chapter? Okay, tyrant, giant, a feller, bully. Yeah, we were bullying these nations because we had powers. Nephilim. Let's look up that word. Mysterious beings of people, and that's just a doctrine. The scriptures warn us of fables and mythology. Okay, a tradition of men. They make myths out of shit. Okay, but a giant. Okay, it tells you what a giant right here. Naphael. That's where the word Nephilim comes from. A feller. Let's look up that. What is a feller? Representing speech in various dialects. Non-standard spelling of feller. I don't think they gave me a good but a giant. It's gonna explain it right now, but that's where you get the it don't really have nothing to do with um uh a literal giant. Think about a tyrant, a kingdom of people that have power over another kingdom. The sons of God were ruling over the other nations, you know, during that time. That's why you know, you get wind of these civilizations before the timeline, you know. For example, like they speak about Atlantis and shit. You had other civilizations, the earliest civilizations. Okay, but that was pretty much the sons of God ruling every damn thing, man, until we were brought down to this mortal state to die at, you know, like the heathen at their age. The Lord brought us down. Okay, there's an account in the scriptures about that. It says there were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, meaning they had sex with them. Okay, of men, and they bear children. You see that? To them, the same became mighty men. That's what that word giant is saying. Mighty men, Gaborium. Let's look up that word. And it's going to say it right here. Which were of old men of renown. You see that? Men of renown, of fame. Mighty men. The word Gaborium means champion or warrior, right? And men of renown. Let's see. Like famous, you know, authority, character, renown, report, individuality, a mark of memorial, like Michael Jordan, and that's low level, you know, dunking the basketball. But we were known for, you know, famous for our reputation in the earth, reputation. You see, as designation of God, memorial. You got to remember, Adam, the sons of God were closer back to Adam's time. Remember, the Most High brought the sons of Adam down. It took some time for them to be completely brought down to the point of dying at like 100 years, 70 years. The Lord kept bringing the age of life down. They were living forever up until sin. Then it went to 1,000 years, and then so what do you think they were doing when they were living forever? They didn't sin. The Adamites, they didn't sin, and they had power because of that, and they were stripped of that, and that's where we're at now, Israelites. That's what Psalms 82 is about. Let's end it with that. Okay, Lord's willing, this was edifying. Shalom. End it with this. Okay. This is Psalms 82:6. I have said, ye are gods, and all of you are the children of the Most High, but ye shall die like men and fall like one of the princes. See that? And the Lord is getting ready to give us those new bodies and immortal bodies back, but greater. We're gonna be gods here on the earth, and He gonna open up these other planets for us. We're gonna rule throughout the universes, even in the spirit realm. We're gonna even, be able to tap into that realm. And so with that, hey, shalom.